Yo ho ho, so before I get into today's video topic, I just want to put a little disclaimer up saying these are my own personal views on YA, and I'm not judging or coming down on anyone who enjoys reading it. These are just my own feelings and thoughts as to why I don't like it. So over the past year I have received some messages from people saying, you know, I really enjoy your videos, but why don't you do any YA? So I just wanted to kind of set the record straight as to why I don't enjoy reading it. So I've made a little list. Basing it off of, I used to read YA, you know, 5, 6, 7 years ago when I was around 14, 15, you know, the general age you start reading YA at. And these are just some of the issues that popped up in books then that were very popular, you know, which are, some of the issues are still very true to what is currently, you know, it hasn't changed much over the past few years. So my first issue was that any of the books that I read, they weren't relatable at all, and that was a very important thing for me because I was going through a lot of stuff, and it would have been nice to read a character who was maybe not in the exact same situation as I was, but in a similar one, just to not feel so alone as I did. And that ultimately led me to read what you would consider adult books, because I just wasn't getting the answers from any YA books. You know, I wasn't getting anywhere with them. And again, I don't like a lot of the characters, the sort of whiny teenage characters that a lot of these authors write. You know, they're either very whiny or bitchy or whatever, and I'll come back to the bitchiness part later on. My next issue is that a lot of YA books are very dumbed down and simplified, and by that I mean you'll go to a bookstore, open a book, a YA book, and the first thing that will strike you is that generally the font is quite big, the words are spaced out, there's not a lot of big words, you know, and it seems a little condescending to me, whether the author is aware of it or not, is that there, you know, there'll be swearing in YA, but that's probably about it, you know, and it's very easy reading, and I don't like that, which brings me to my third point, which is I like books that make me think, that make me question things, and YA just doesn't do that for me at all. I felt that I wasn't learning anything from the books, whether it's like fun facts or, you know, that's the moral of the story. I wasn't getting that at all, and I kind of think you should learn something, a little something, from every book you read, otherwise then what's the point in reading? So there's that. My next point is that it's not a realistic look at teenage life, and I feel that some of the authors have romanticized what it is to be a teenager and write about what they would have liked to have happened when they were a teenager, which is just a totally unrealistic thing, because when I was a teenager we weren't like in little love triangles and having all the boys after me or anything. I wish, but you know, we would go out and sit in fields and get pissed, we would go to head shops and do bath salts and stupid shit like that, we would have sex in strange places, and it's just none of that sort of thing is in YA books, you know. It's all very lovey-dovey and gushy and stuff, and I don't like that. I think, you know, being a teenager, if there is a rebellious character in a YA book, they're generally demonized for it, and they're generally the villain, if not just the nemesis of the lead character, who's very pure and never steps out of line and things like that, and I will come back to that again in a minute. But I just don't enjoy that. Again, it's just not relatable, and I think I can speak for, you know, I think, you know, it's not just in Ireland, I think everywhere, you know, teenagers just want to grow up too fast, they want to try everything, they want to do what all the adults have been doing for years, you know, they want to see what it's like, and, you know, that's not a bad thing. So my next point is a series that everyone knows very well, and a lot of people like it and a lot of people hate it, and I for one hate it, and I'll explain why. The Twilight series. When you get past all the glittery vampires and forbidden werewolves and all those sorts of things, you have a book that is about a girl who is unaware that she is in an abusive relationship with a total asshole. Twilight promotes an abusive relationship as a healthy relationship to young girls or boys or whoever reads Twilight, and I cannot stand it. I cannot understand why a woman would write a male character and force it on young impressionable girls as, you know, he is controlling and manipulative and violent and abusive and just it's jealous and just like ticks all the things for a total arsehole in a relationship, you know. And she promotes it to young girls as this is what love is. If your boyfriend is really controlling and he doesn't let you see your friends and family, that means that he's in love with you. No, that means he's a possessive asshole and you need to get out of that relationship. I cannot understand why anyone would even publish it and why it would go on to make thousands of millions of dollars and someone could profit off that. Because that's basically what it's about. And as someone who has been in a few abusive relationships, as someone who knows a lot of women who have been, it is not nice and it is not loved, and it is just really fucked up that someone would put that in a book and glorify it. And it is just disgusting. I just think it's disgusting. Before I get too goddamn angry, I'm going to move on to my last point. My last point is slut shaming, which is still very rampant in YA books, and I cannot understand why. I don't understand if it's whether the authors just assume teenage girls go around calling each other sluts all the time, or whether it's the authors' prejudice themselves. It's in a lot of books these days. The Hush Hush series probably has it the worst, where there is a character who is called a rat and a pig for having sex, and I don't understand why that is so demonized and why she becomes dehumanized. She's less than human because she has had sex. And of course the heroine of the story is a virgin and is pure, and I hate that word pure, but I can't understand why if anything just it's more experience for you, you know. And I just cannot understand why, you know. First of all, the word slut is used so loosely these days. I mean, you could wear a v-neck top, you're a slut. You could hug a boy that some other girl fancies, and according to that other girl, you're a slut. You could kiss a boy, you're a slut. You could sleep with one boy, you could sleep with 20 boys, because it doesn't matter, because you're nothing but a scummy slut. And I just don't understand why it's perfectly okay for guys to have sex in books, but when a girl does, she's just a slut, and she's not worth knowing or even talking to, because she's just the scum of the earth. And I can't understand. I can't understand, because do these authors just assume that all their readers are virgins? Because what about the readers that aren't virgins? According to these authors, I'm a slut. Apparently, you know, a lot of people I know would be considered a slut. Apparently all our mothers are sluts because they put out. I don't understand it, and it just irritates me. You know, it seems very prudish to me, and it makes me so angry that people just consider it such an awful thing. Hello, teenagers, what they do, God, I mean, what, I mean, some of my friends are virgins, but I'd say most of them, I mean, it's 50-50 really, and I would never go around calling them sluts. I would never go around calling anyone a slut, because it's none of my fucking business, and it's none of your business who someone else sleeps with, and it doesn't affect you in any way. And you know what, I may be a slut, but at least I'm not a backstabbing bitch that goes around name calling people. And it is always the girls that call the other girls sluts. They always call them sluts because they are jealous, because they're not getting any action themselves, and that is the problem. They are just jealous, and they are just stuck up bitches, and I cannot stand it. I cannot stand it, and I can't understand again why this sort of shit is published and why it is pushed on young people. And you know, I don't know, it breaks my mind, it really does. So anyway, before I start frothing at the mouth, I will leave some links below to some articles that I've pulled up on some of these things, and you know, just to kind of back up my points. What do you think? Do you think I'm right here, or do you think I'm just reading too much into it? Do you have some of the same issues as I do, and you just don't really care, or things like that? Because I don't know, it pisses me off quite a bit, to be honest. So I hope you enjoyed that, and oh, the phone is ringing, so I better go answer that. It's probably that guy calling back thinking, anyway, I'll talk to you soon.